So in this part 2, I continue on the N1, the only ring road in Iceland and the largest ring road in Europe. As a reminder, I'm using the X100VI with a wide converter and the Ricoh GR IIIX with the 1.5x teleconverter. So first thing on day 5, drove to Studlagil, a very famous canyon. Weather wasn't kind, extremely cold, probably the coldest day of the trip. Crowds were aplenty, but nothing could deny the beauty of the bending basalt columns. It may not look like the coldest day of the trip, but my word, it was tough to get those hands out and grip the non-grip of the X100VI and the Ricoh. Sometimes I couldn't feel the camera. Yeah, I love the mood of this shot and the two meandering routes. The night before, there was advice not to travel the ring road along the north due to snow and ice. A lot of snow did fall and it painted the mountains. I'm trying to avoid using too many superlatives, but this 1-hour journey from Studlagil to Hverir was one of the most beautiful drives I can remember. We then arrived at Hverir, a geothermal area directly off the ring road. The boiling mud pools are dangerous, but you can put your faith in a thin rope as a deterrent. As you can see, alien landscape, steam, snow, fissures, fumaroles, interrupted by some really nice designer hiking gear. And yeah, really fun location for photography, all due to the fact that people are coming in and out of the steam, and it just turns into a playground. Love how the people are poised like the two rocks in the foreground, with the volcano at the back. As a general warning, if you don't like the smell of eggy sulphur, do not come near. I'm slightly sensitive to it. I could last about 20-30 minutes before I started feeling delirious from holding my breath for too long. So as the sun was setting, we then dashed onwards to our accommodation in Akureyri. That's the largest town in the north of Iceland. The skies were clear, so we drove 10 minutes out from the town to see the northern lights. Couldn't nail the settings, but I experimented with the time lapses. I was as impressed as the first time, probably more. It was much more intense. So intense. Yeah, same. This is one of my favorites from the trip. Day 6, I treated myself to an early walk around Akureyri. I missed the streets, I guess you could say. Maybe I'd like to say that, I don't think I did actually. I missed using the GR IIIX without the teleconverter, so it was just me, no backpack, just the GR IIIX in my pocket. I had to work hard to find subjects. It was a real task. Question to anyone Icelandic that's watching this. Where are you? Where are you? I don't see anyone wherever I go. It's knocking on to 9 o'clock on a Thursday. I don't see anyone. This is the town centre. Oh, that's a nice cafe. see here, saw a man going into his car. I was stunned, and I didn't even take a photo. Managed to find a few though in the end. Given we were staying 2 nights, it felt like a holiday within a holiday. Little did we know how intense the whale watching would be. So I've had a pretty tumultuous first 5 days by way of tech. Forgot my binoculars, hot tea spilt on my MacBook during the flight, first full day in Skogafoss, the water vapour obliterated my Google Pixel 7, which is meant to be waterproof. Third full day, I lost my Garmin watch, which at least told me the time, given that I didn't have a phone anymore and still don't. However, I will say this, it's been good in some way if there is any silver lining that I've been able to focus purely on the photography. We were booked onto a whale watching tour. We opted for the rib boat instead of the ferry. I didn't know what a rib boat was, but essentially it's a glorified dinghy with a motor.
Have any of you guys seen a whale before? No one on the boat? Alright!
We were crashing into waves for an hour to go out to see the whales. It got to the point where the guide, Mac, gave us a choice, politely, whether we'd like to continue. The lady in front of me was uncomfortable from the first minute, and it only got worse. So we caught sight of a number of elegant humpback whales. Quite a sight to behold. Some were in pods of 3. Really happy with this set. Simple compositions amidst the shrieks and the waves. Despite my poor luck with tech on the trip, I took the risk of bringing both cameras on the boat. By the time we had seen a number of whales, the struggling lady made the request to be transferred to a larger boat. What followed was nothing short of a feature film. Ropes, near misses, misaligned ladders, husbands distracted by humpbacks. It had it all. I don't think this video captures the frenzy and the atmosphere on our little rib boat. She didn't have the upper body strength. She got on board, we saw a few more whales and we headed back.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't really get to ride up here very often, so seeing how the normal folk live, it's nice.
Drove 25 minutes out of town to a remote dark sky area. I didn't have a wide enough lens to capture some of the architectural dome-like formations, but this night was probably the craziest. So, day 7, the penultimate day. As we drove along the west coast, there were some really lovely sights of hills, mountains, solitary houses. The ring road's got so much to offer, so spontaneous stops are often the most rewarding. So we stopped off at this little known canyon. I had fun with the high sun, the shadows, kind of the different levels you could access to get views of the waterfall. And I enjoyed framing the waterfall with people.
Would you like a photo? You alright? Okay. This is the only tripod I've taken. This mini Manfrotto. Some regrets given that there's been 3 nights of Northern Lights.
We then did a short hike across the volcanic craters of Grab Rock. Grab Rock, what a name. Yeah, I really like how this simple composition brings out the silhouettes of the people. I had a quiet moment at the hotel with the usual anticipation of more Northern Lights. When it comes to Northern Lights, scale is so important, so including buildings in some of these photos. Started with the Fuji and then I gave the Ricoh a go. Day 8, the final day. Ring road, complete. There's no way that Reykjavik was going to compete with the previous 7 days, but it was a nice pause. Hallgrímskirkja is inspired by the basalt columns and a very fun landmark to photograph. We spent 3 hours here eating expensive hot dogs, good Polish dumplings, and reflecting on the trip. If I were to come here again, I'd like to seek out more of its architecture, to capture more of the Icelandic population, the lesser known population. Yeah, less so the Brits and the Americans. Much like the spontaneous canyon the day before, and given the return flights back home were from Keflavik, half an hour from Reykjavik, we just stopped by a nearby nature reserve, Injanahofoy. I butchered that. This is a farewell shot of the trip, a farewell shot of the Dacia Duster that kept us safe. What an incredible ring road, and I cannot wait to go back in the future.